materials?
Hello, hello, hello. Wherever you are, we're glad you're there, and we're glad you're here, wherever you are. Hello, 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 hello. This is Dr. Willie Jolley.
Good evening. This is Dee Taylor Jolley.
And we are...
Happy pre-Thanksgiving.
We are the Jolleys, and happy pre-Thanksgiving. We are the authors of the book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. 10 Secrets to Shape a Great Marriage. And we will tell you that we are grateful for our marriage. Yes? Yes. She said the nicest thing to me last night.
Oh, I did?
You did. It really blessed me.
What did I say? I'll say it again.
About, I'll let you say it.
I don't know what I said.
I'm going to tell you what you said was the nicest thing to me. You said, how did you phrase it?
What were we talking about?
Your first marriage. And the fact that I told you how much I loved you. You're the love of my life. I was telling you last night. Mm-hmm. And you said, isn't it interesting that I was married, we were friends, but...
I didn't say that. I said we weren't in love.
Well, you said, no, you didn't say we weren't in love. You said, you're my first real love, or something to that effect. Mm-hmm. He was a nice guy. He's a nice guy. We're all friends. But you're my first, and I love you. Or I fell in love with you. Something to that effect.
Yes.
So, anyway, greetings to everybody. We hope you enjoyed last week's show. Hey, Karen Denise Smith. We hope you enjoyed last week's show with our friends Pierpont, Jeanette Mobley, who have been married 50 plus years, and we interviewed them. What a great couple, great people. Also want to give a shout out to another couple we interviewed a couple months ago in Orange County, California, Danny and Teddy Cox, who celebrated their 54th wedding anniversary last Monday. So, want to say greetings to them.
Wonderful couples, and what do they all have in common?
What do they have in common? They stayed married.
Other than over 50 years of marriage.
But they stayed married. That's the bottom line. And that doesn't mean that they don't have any challenges. That doesn't mean they don't have any problems.
They're happy with each other. Not that just that they stayed married, but they love and they like each other.
They love and they like each other.
And they spend a great deal of time together.
So, for those who might be joining us for the first time or might seeing this on a replay, we are the Jolleys. We wrote the book, Make Love, Make It Money, Make It Last. We've been married for going on 35 years. Woo! 35. She doesn't even look like she's 35 years old. So, 35 years, and we haven't had an argument in over 32 years. Now, the first few years were really tough, but we learned some principles from some wise mentors. And those mentors taught us secrets and principles on how to be happily married and to be in a marriage where we weren't arguing. So we put them
into practice.
And then we put them into practice. They worked, and then 30 years later, we wrote a book. And we want to thank all of you who have made this book incredibly powerful part of our lives, that now we're in our second printing. If you don't have this version, this is the new. I love the way this feels. I just love the way it feels. I'm a book person. I write books. Y'all know I write books. It only takes a minute to change your life. Setback, set up for a comeback. Turn setbacks, greenbacks. Attitude of excellence. I write books. And it's not just what's inside, but it's the aesthetic. I like the book.
He's a character.
I like this book.
Let's get to it.
So now the book is over.
Make it last. You have the book.
And the audio.
You have it on audio.
Yep. Somebody bought the audio and said they were listening to it. Who was that? We were somewhere. And they said they listened to the audio
Couple we were with on
Yes.
Sunday before last.
They said they listened to audio. And then we got the seminar on CD, 2 CDs.
Have a seminar, 2 hours.
2 hours seminar. And what's that over there? The work.
The workbook.
It's right there.
Okay. Let's get to tonight.
Workbook. So we want you to get all the above. Go to jollymarriage.com. We want to save 1 million marriages, enhance 1 million more, and keep people happily married. So as we go into Thanksgiving, let me say we're thankful for each other. And we're thankful for all of you who have shared this with your friends and family members. Last Tuesday, before we get into days, we were in Chesapeake, Virginia. I was speaking for Cox Media. Shout out to everybody, Cox Media, everybody in Chesapeake we met.
Wonderful sales group. Those are sales
Wonderful,
team,
great,
right?
great group.
Yeah.
And a gentleman came up, and long hair, long gray hair. Now we had met him before years ago when I was been there, and he said, "I love you in your kitchen every Monday."
And then I look taller when
He
I
said,
stand
"Yeah,
up in person."
yeah." So thank you all for your sharing this. That's why people are hearing about it, because of you sharing it. Okay, let's get today's message.
The topic is
The topic is, go ahead. Is your married love life crazy or sane? Is your marriage love life crazy or sane? In other words, are you having craziness that comes between that, or is there sanity? There's some systems, there's some processes. So,
related to your love life.
love life. Now, let's go back to what.
So you're saying love life has to have processes? And
No,
systems?
I'm just saying, is it crazy? Now we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the crazy stuff. So, what we say in the book that marriages break up for 1 of 3 reasons, according to statistics. The 3 big boulders. There are a lot of boulders, but it could be little potholes. But the boulders that break up marriages are sex, money, and communication. Sex, either not enough, or sex, somebody stepping outside the marriage, or some other issue with sex. Money, not handling it well, not bringing in enough. People are fighting, people not honest about their money. Or communication. People who don't talk to each other and they build up resentment. So a little problem that starts out like just a little hairline fracture because of the lack of communication, because of the lack of fixing it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And before you know it, there's this chasm that people can't get to because they won't communicate.
All right, so let's communicate about sex.
Let's
come
talk
back
about
to the
sex
topic.
now. Okay, sex.
Is your
If
married
you talk
love
about
life-
sex more, then you would have less problems. That's what I'm trying to get to.
If you would talk about intimacy and sex, not just sex, sex and intimacy, but it can be a very difficult topic because it's taboo in so many different arenas.
Yep.
But a little bit of background information, as you said, sex ranks right up there among the major causes of fights with married couples.
Right.
Or disagreements. And the question becomes, are you getting enough? Or what constitutes constitutes a healthy married sexual relationship?
Okay.
Or what's the average number of times that a married couple has sex?
Weekly, monthly, yearly, or?
It depends.
Well, that's what we're going to
There's
talk about.
no one magic number. That's a little bit about the background. And so it really does depend. Depends upon the inclinations of each individual, depends upon the culture, depends upon the work schedule, depends upon whether or not they have children. So it depends, and it comes down to how the couples decide that they want their sex lives to be, which means you got to do what? You gotta talk about it.
Talk.
And let me give you a little bit of background information because I've always got background information.
Yep.
All right. So
She's the background information girl.
So there was a Newsweek magazine poll which was done in the last 2 years that talked about couples, and the couples that they surveyed said that about 68%.
No, that's not 68%. Times. Couples have sex about 68.5 times
In a year.
in a year. That's right.
68.5 times in a year, which means it's a little less than once a week.
No, a little more.
A little more than once a week.
Okay.
Once a week would be 52 times a year.
Right.
Okay, 60. A little more than once a week. That was a study done by Newsweek magazine.
Okay.
Then there was a study done by the University of Chicago on the social organization of sexuality. That's a mouthful. On the social organization of sexuality, that found that 32% of married couples had sex 2 to 3 times a week. So you've gone from 68% of couples having sex, averaging about once a week, a little more than once a week, to 32% of couples saying they're having sex 2 or 3 times a week, to this researcher David Schnack, Schnarch, who's a PhD that studied like 20,000 couples, I guess over however many years, and found that only 26% of couples have sex once a week. He said it's more like twice a month. So you've gone from a little more than once a week to 2 or maybe 3 times a week to twice a month. So what does it mean? The information is
That wouldn't be good.
Well, I'm not.
Oh, for me.
I'm not.
Maybe
I'm not
I can't
placing judgment on whether it's good or not, sweetheart.
Oh, I see.
The goal here is to get you to
It is
see
what it is.
that it's all over the place depending on who's doing the research.
There's one more piece.
Okay, and then there's one more. There was a recent study done by this writer. She wrote a book called For Women Only. She also has a book for men only. But this seems to be a very popular book, For Women Only, by Sean T. Feidhahn, Feidhahn. That's an interesting name. Found that 77% of married men said that if they were able to have sex as often as they wanted, their life satisfaction, overall sense of well-being would increase.
You know, that's a complicated statistic because saying for men that you're able is twofold. One, that you have a partner who you could have sex with, and two is
and we're talking about married couples.
Okay, but two is that are they physically able? Okay, are they physically able? They think, I've had men.
It said if they were able to have sex.
Yeah, so what does that mean? If that mean if their mind wants to have sex, but their body might not be participating. That's why I go over here to this closet.
So you're saying Viagra might be needed?
No, I've never used the Viagra. I have no blue pills. I have nothing like it.
What are you saying?
I got ashwagandha.
So that replaces the little blue pill?
No, it's natural. I can show y'all if y'all watch often. Ashwagandha, Eleuthero, honey goat weed, diet. What's it called? A bunch of them. I've showed it to you before. You get the natural.
And you have to take care of yourself. So let's.
You gotta exercise. You gotta exercise. Watch what you eat. Don't eat too much. Don't be. You got to stay somewhat healthy to be able to.
So the research is really all over the place. So we go back to, is your married love life crazy or sane?
Okay, so
it really depends on, as I said in the beginning, the particular needs of the couple. So there is no one normal, this is what you should be doing. What you should be doing depends upon what you as a couple.
So let's go through a couple of the questions that we've got. We got questions. And I want y'all to send your questions, please.
Can I summarize, please?
Your question, if you got a question, type it in now. Type it in now. We'll try and get to it. And if we can't get to it now, we'll get to it some other
So
time.
therapists and researchers summarize by saying there is no one normal, there is no normal, and it all depends on what the couple decide that they want to do. Because the sex drive of the person, of the husband or the wife varies, and their activities vary. So if you're not talking and communicating and honestly expressing what you're feeling, then there is no getting together on a regular basis to satisfy each other. And the better question is, what is normal for you and your spouse? And if you're not getting, if one person isn't getting enough sex and intimacy, then that means that you've got to communicate about what is going on and identify what can work better. What do you need to do? In some instances, it could be if all the physical parts are working correctly. We are on camera. If all the physical parts are working correctly, it could come down to a lack of information. You could read, like our book, that gives you a different perspective. You could read articles. You could have mentors where there is safety in saying, I'm having some challenges here.
Well, in the book,
and then accessing new information.
In the book, we talk about the fact that many times women are not motivated or inspired to have sex because they haven't been romanced. Okay, and they haven't. The male doesn't understand how important it is.
Well, they might not understand it because there's a lack of communication.
Oh, but they don't. No. They don't understand because no one's ever told them, because they never read it or somebody never gave them counsel about the fact that women need intimacy
and not just sticking it in.
D. You know, sometimes I have to just tone her down a little bit. Now, men, you must remember that women are crockpots.
Yes.
That they are crockpots.
You need time and attention.
You need time and attention to warm up to the idea of sexual activity. So you can't be coming up. It's not productive in a good way to come at night and after they worked all day and cooked the food.
Well, you both worked all day.
But I'm just saying they worked all day. You cooked the food. They took care of the kid, and then they come and you lay there and say, "You ready?" Now that ain't gonna work long, man. That is not gonna work well for the long term. Okay, if you want some action at night, we recommend you start in the morning.
And action at night.
She is right, Karen. Karen says she's right.
What?
Because because D is so forthright. She says she's right. You can't be coming up there just, Anyway, what we tell you to do, gentlemen, is
honesty can go a long way.
Is to romance.
In breaking the ice in where you might have a stalemate in communication.
All right. So here's a couple questions. Let's start with one. How do you motivate your spouse to be intimate and to talk about what is wrong in the bedroom? Wow, that's a big one. So we address that in the book. But we only talk about the things that we've got some background on. Like someone asked us a question about an issue that I said I don't know the answer to that, because that one I've never experienced.
Okay, read it again, please.
Okay, how do you motivate your spouse to be intimate, and how do you talk about what is wrong in the bedroom?
I would say my first thought is that we have limited information with the question, how do you motivate your spouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't know the love language that they have.
Mm. Okay.
And so when you communicate, how does your spouse need to be communicated to?
Okay. So my answer, that's her answer. Let me tell you my answer. My answer is, how do you motivate your spouse to be intimate? You motivate your spouse to be intimate by finding an experience when they are intimate and you give them lots of positive reinforcement. That was so great.
Well, what if they're not intimate
All right,
at
so
all?
they're never intimate. How do you motivate them to be intimate? You might take them by the hand and
Or
talk.
maybe you need.
Let me finish.
Can I say? Can
Let
I
me
say?
finish.
Please?
Let me
Can
finish.
I say? I need to say it. I need to say it, please.
Go ahead.
Communication. What does intimacy look like? Maybe the spouse thinks they're being intimate.
That is a good answer. That's a very good answer. But maybe they don't know. But
They don't know what you need.
Maybe that goes back to where I was getting ready to go.
Okay, sweetheart.
All right, where I was going to go is how important it is to communicate and talk. See, if you're afraid to communicate, you don't communicate, you think people should know, and you're not willing to have that difficult conversation, and it doesn't have to be a hard conversation. All it has to do is sometimes people are afraid to have difficult conversations. They don't talk. And so what we want them to do is talk and have the conversation and say, here's something I was thinking about.
And I think it's something you have to do. You have to do over time.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would ever say the word there. What's wrong?
What's wrong? That's
I would never do that.
We were just for the first half. We were just dealing with the first
I would
half.
never
How do you
say,
motivate your spouse to be intimate?
Yes.
And talk about what is wrong.
I would never do that.
No, you want to talk about what you like. What would turn you on?
And how to perhaps physically steer them in the direction.
Because when you say to a man what's wrong, that's not good.
Everything shrivels up.
Woo!
Can I say that?
Woo! Disempower.
That is not what you want to do. So you want to empower and encourage and nurture. So your words have power.
Yes. Donna
And
Shorts Robertson. Thank you, Donna. Top fan. God bless you. How much is the book and workbook? You can get the whole package for $100. Both books, the workbook, the audio book, and the video for $100. And you can get the digital download if you want it all digitally for a little less than that. But I recommend you get two. You get the whole package, but you get two of these. One for you, one for your significant other, and then you both can read a chapter and talk about it after you read it. That's chapter number 1, and y'all go into your separate area, and at the end you say, okay, what did you find in chapter number 1?
I mean, you can figure out a time to do it over tea, or maybe it's during date night.
Maybe date night.
Because you need to have a date night.
How many of y'all got date nights? How many of you, send me right now, how many of you have date nights? Send a little response. Yes, we have a date night. Or
you can do it quickly. You have to do it or you don't.
Yeah. Do you have a date night?
Every week.
Now, every week, not once a month, not we walked to the store together and that was our date. No, an intentional, you put it in your schedule, in your phone, in your calendar. Hey, our date night. We know our date night is every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. We shut down the office. We have a date every week, okay? So, do you have a date night? How many of you? Nope. Okay, no, we got one. We got to get more. Come on, responses. We know more people are watching. Do you have a date night? I'm going to start asking this every week and then see how many of them shift.
Yeah.
Because that is critical, okay? You got to
don't need
no money.
You don't need money to have a date night. You don't need to go out to have a date night.
No. We want to make sure you understand this is
time together.
Time together. You don't need to spend any money. You can watch Netflix or Hulu or whatever. But here are the two things you cannot do.
Just to study each other.
You cannot talk about the kids and you cannot talk about the bills. Because when you were dating, you probably didn't talk about the kids. If you had any, you didn't talk about them. And if you didn't have any, there were none to talk about. And then second is you didn't talk about the bills. Because bills is not empowering any loving going on. So that's what creates crazy love relationships. And so how do you motivate your spouse to be intimate? You talk to them. And you condition positive responses.
And you become loving.
Oh, yes.
And nurturing.
Yes.
And start to study them, and y'all can study each other and find out what turns them on. Once you discover that, you can give them more of what turns them on. And then when you do more of what turns them on, they can do more of what turns you on. You are such a character. Let's go.
All right, so next. So never talk about what's wrong in the bedroom. That would not be good.
No.
All right, so here's another one. How do you plan sex if your partner isn't a planner? Now that one came up during a recent program because someone said, "Should you plan for sex?" And we said, "Absolutely."
Absolutely, like plan for sex.
Plan for sex? Yes.
But when you look at it in the broader
Shouldn't it
scheme
be
spontaneous? But what if you pick the kids up from school? You got to put dinner on the table. You got to help with homework. You broke down.
Yeah. So you have to plan again
to get away inside the house.
In my schedule.
Oh, the kids. We gonna put on Thursday. We put the kids to bed.
Oh, took them to grandmama's house.
We didn't have. Well,
we didn't have that. But,
no.
But you know.
Put William to bed. He was young. Latoya went to her room.
Well, we had our date night.
Date night.
But once they were asleep.
Mm-hmm.
In the schedule. Yeah, you should plan because you got busy lives.
If you want to have time together, you have to plan, especially when you have children.
Right.
Or if you both have very busy professional lives and you're going in opposite directions.
Right. That's right.
You plan to be together when you dated. Now you're married and you're living under the same roof, but you have no time for each other. That doesn't make sense, right?
Yep. There's another question here, and I don't know if we have time to get to this other question.
What?
My sex life is like my Social Security. Once a month, and it's not enough. But it's just enough to get by. Woo! Sex life like Social Security. I've never heard that one before. Once a month. And that's not enough, but it's enough.
Well, Social Security only, you're barely on life support.
Yeah, well, Social Security, but people think you're into Social Security to get their check once a month. It's not enough, but it's just enough to get by. And they say that's how their sex life is. And so, what we say to people that is, you got to go through what we're talking about. You have a date night? Do you talk? Then you
need some extra work. If Social Security in of itself is not enough, you're like, I gotta get another job. I gotta get a part-time job.
How does that work in your sex life, Dee? How does that work in your sex life? Karen, why am I not a top fan? I'm not sure, but I hope you, that was maybe that's because you're married. I'm not sure. Maybe the marriage is not clicking, not popping, so I don't know. Okay, Social Security. My sex life is like my Social Security. What we say again is, please make a point to talk to each other. We cannot commit and comment on this enough. How many couples?
You have to plan another time.
But talking,
if it's just once a month.
Just talking though, getting this. This is a problem. This is something we want to work on. But it's talking and not being critical.
Holding hands, maybe just to start with. Because you hold hands, you're really holding the person's heart.
We walk, we talk, we hold hands.
It's a major form of intimacy.
Yeah.
The whole touching thing.
Touching.
Maybe you can start there. And sometimes it's hard to start holding hands
say this about last week?
If you've never done that.
I don't think we talked about our luncheon with the husband and wife. And she said, maybe we did, but no, we haven't talked about it. And she said, we told them to start holding hands. They've been married 17 years. Mm-hmm. And she sent us a note next day and said, unbelievable. We haven't held hands in 15 years. And when we left with hanging out with you guys, he reached for my hand. She said it was just marvelous.
But here's the other thing. You can reach for his hand too.
Yes, you can. reach for his hand and see if he'll
Yeah,
take it.
yeah.
So we reach for each other's hand. We reach for each
There's
other.
a tenderness there with the holding of hands, and almost it's. I think sometimes, like when we're walking, going out, and you reach out for my hand, because you're always walking faster than me. I'm like, slow down, because if I have heels on and I'm reaching for your hand, and sometimes it could be like a second. You think, well, what if I don't grab his hand?
But she always grabs my hand. Look, our time is up. Let's go back over our points. Go to Jolly Marriage.
So the point is, we're all sensitive.
Our time is up. Our time is up.
We didn't get to say Happy
All
Thanksgiving.
right, we're going to do that in a minute. Go to jollymarriage.com, jollymarriage.com. Get 2 copies of the book, the audio book, play in the car, the 2 CDs seminar, hilarious and profound, and no holds barred, in the workbook. Get it all. We're trying to save 1 million marriages. If your marriage you have room for improvement, get this package. It is helping couples. We have more
Enjoy being together.
helping couples who have said
Happily married couples live longer.
okay, helping couples to improve their marriage. That's our goal. We want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. We are grateful. We have an attitude of gratitude because we do have a happy marriage. We don't argue. There's no drama. We work together. We travel together. We're together.
I had to get a sense of humor.
She did have to get a sense of humor because she did not have one.
Because
And
he is so off the chain.
I'm off the chain. That's true. But 20 hours a day, we're together every day, and we are grateful. We have an attitude of gratitude.
And I do yoga.
And, and so we want to encourage you that we are thankful, we are grateful, and we want to say happy Thanksgiving to you. Spend time with family. Tell them that you love them, even the ones who you get issues with. If you got an issue with somebody in your family, use this time to talk it out. Privately, and say, how can we fix this? Remember the 4 F's that work in your marriage or work in your relationships. Be friendly, be frank, this is how you made me feel, be fair, and be focused on a win-win. Leaving the table where everybody felt like, I won. That's where great
Take
marriage.
the high road.
Always take the high road, and if you need to apologize, say, I'm so sorry.
Quickly.
Do it quick. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And let's work on improving. You do that, your marriage will get better if you do it in your marriage. If you do that, your relationship better. And you do that, your business relationships will get better. It'll work. Look, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We're going to be in Atlanta. By the way, any churches, I'm looking for a church to speak at this Sunday in Atlanta. You know somebody in Atlanta? I'm going to send out a tweet. I just decided I'm going to speak at somebody's church on Sunday morning in the Atlanta area. So if you know the church down there, tell them to contact me. But if not, we will be in Atlanta with my niece Rashida and her husband Gino, their first Thanksgiving in their new home. And my niece Vivian and her husband are coming with their kids, and my niece Christina, and my niece and nephew Noble and his new wife Stephanie, my son, my daughter, my grandkids. We all coming together for Happy Thanksgiving. God bless you, and may heaven smile upon you, and know that we love you, and we're happy married Monday with the Jolleys.
Jolly out.
Jolly out.